Alright, that's going. Let me know when we're live.
We are alive.
Ah, okay. Hello and welcome to the Abs, where we will be doing more doodling today. I am Crispy Crowd.
And I am Storm Song.
And I'm going to be drawing some robots today.
Yes.
I love robots. It's been a while since I've actually sat down and drawn like straight mechs, so I'm gonna have some fun with that.
Do you draw game X more frequently?
Wait. It took me a second. I was like, wait a minute.
Wordplay.
I sexually identify as a battle master. No. Honestly, the battle master always seemed just kind of like a meh kind of mech to me. It's good when it's like your first assault mech, but otherwise it's just...
It didn't leave any strong impressions on me, positive
No.
or negative.
Yeah, it's just kind of there.
Mm.
I know some people that really like the battle master, but I'm not one of them, I guess.
Yeah. I'm more a fan of the what's that thing called? The Banshee.
You like the Banshee?
Mostly because in BattleTech Advance, at least, I was able to turn it into a real, like, terrifying melee monster, but that's a very custom kind of build.
Yeah. I tried doing the melee thing in vanilla BattleTech, and it didn't really go too well for me, so...
Yeah.
I mean...
Personally, though, all my favorite mechs are in the heavy territory, so...
Oh, mine tend to be assault mechs. Like, the Atlas is my favorite, inner sphere mech. But I'm also quite fond of the Clan Blood Asp mech, which is a 95-tonner with 2 Gauss rifles and, forget if it has jump jets or not, but it's got Gauss rifles and mostly lasers with an SRM rack.
Yep.
But it's a monster. I think they have a mini they're going to make of him at some point, which I'm definitely getting that if it is. And I'm not even really like a clan guy. Yep. But I also haven't really played the tabletop. I just mostly paint the minis.
Yeah.
I think I have a Merc company, and then I have my mean material lance. Or clan star of Ice Weasel. We'll call it Ice Weasel.
Yeah. The mightiest of weasels.
Very fierce. I actually really enjoy mechs that have the... What are these called? Digit grade legs?
I couldn't say.
I think that's what they're called, if I remember correctly. Oh, it's not... I want them to be a bit bigger on top, though, so... Actually, I'm gonna hold off on that.
I'm going through the difficulty of, like, I drew a really good, correct-looking hand earlier, only to realize it's good for a closed fist, but not a hand that's actually gripping a weapon.
Yeah.
And so, like, now I'm having to edit it without destroying my, like, anatomical achievement.
Yeah. It's always the hard part when you have to go back and fix something. I've definitely gone back and, like, revised stuff that I've drawn before plenty of times, because I'm a perfectionist like that.
Yep. Breakdown is in the chat. Yes, hands suck. Hands are the worst part of drawing.
Yep. Everyone who draws struggles with hands.
And feet, apparently.
Feet, for me, well, I don't really play around too much with, like, the movement of the toes and things. I know that can really make things complex.
Yeah, because often you can cover up feet with, like, boots and whatnot.
Yeah, that tends to be what I do. I don't really do too much barefoot stuff. There's probably a market. There's definitely a market for that. What am I saying? But we're not going to get into that because that's a whole other conversation.
Well, my
subscribe to our Patreon. No.
My brain just went to a weird place because, like, just thinking about how, like, when I first would draw legs or feet for a character, when I was first learning to draw, a crutch I kind of depended upon at the time was the rule of giant anime boots. And so then you said, you made the crack about, well, there's definitely a market for that. And all I could think was, I wonder if there's a market for foot pics of that kind regarding Mega Man legs.
Some things are better left undiscovered. I'm just gonna say that much. I mean, you're welcome to go look that up then, but
yeah, no.
I'm no. I don't want to sail in those waters, no sir.
Yep, that's a paddling. No,
Yeah. This is coming along pretty well. I was kind of going for something like, if you've ever seen RoboCop 2, a little bit of the Kane RoboCop, they make, like, the RoboCop 2 project they do, and it's like, they put the criminal guy's brain in the robot, and he's just like this giant monster with a minigun.
Yeah.
Essentially, this thing, as I imagine it, is like a drone. This is something I want to use in the setting I'm working on.
Yeah. Kirill Vanov 8. Do you know what intonation is?
Intonation.
In what sense? Like, I know what intonation is as far as, like, intoning a guitar, but as far as art?
Yeah, can't seem
Not sure I've heard
familiar.
the term.
Yeah.
Also, welcome to the first time chat.
Yes. Hello.
Normally this is a Let's Play channel, but we've decided to branch out into art.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to post a link. Can you DM me one real quick? I want to send a invite to some people.
Yeah, do you mean just the link to the channel itself?
Yeah, just link to the stream for people that want to join in.
Yeah, there it is. I had just
cool.
posted in the self-promotion
right.
tab on.
I always forget about that.
Yeah, so I still had it in my thing. Intonation in terms of... Oh, intonation as in... Okay, yeah, so... what do we call it? Innuendos and the like. Yeah, so I do know what you mean there. Yeah, since this is an art stream, I was trying to think of, like, is intonation an artistic technique, too? Yes.
Oh, shit. I think I sent the wrong thing here. Damn it. I'm terrible with this shit.
And Rage Poster claims that intonation is a lesser-known faction in Avatar TLA. Which I feel like might be a swing and a miss. I've been having one of those days where it's like, I woke up late only to get a call. Well, what woke me up was getting a call from my soon-to-be employer. Well, they're already my employer, but my soon-to-be more full-time employer, saying, hey, do you want to meet for lunch? And it's like, well, you don't say no to that.
No. I'd say that's a good reason.
And so then, of course, like, once I'm done with lunch, I'm like, what was that 1 o'clock to do? Scream! Fly home.
That's all right. I didn't know that you were actually like doing new job stuff. So.
Oh kind of my yeah, no. I mean, I wasn't supposed to be doing it till Tuesday, but that's like, that's fine because like I'm glad that this person's interested in me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if they're gonna, and I get it too, because they want to know this, they want to more thoroughly know the person they might be asking to teach, students at their school. So.
Oh. That kind of job, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm already a substitute at the university, but I'm looking to start instructing full time.
Nice.
Well, not full time in the sense of full time. Full time in the sense of like actually being a full on instructor.
Yeah.
Because I'm also self employed. And Breakdown asks, "Are those anime boots, or are you just happy to see me?"
Oh my god.
Because of course Breakdown would ask that.
Every time I think of anime boots, I just think of Kingdom Hearts and just their oversized hobbit feet. And it just makes me upset to think of Kingdom Hearts. Because I don't want to remember that's a thing.
Lol.
I'm sorry if there's Kingdom Hearts fans in the chat, but it's stupid. I'm sorry.
I enjoyed Kingdom Hearts well enough, but like, yeah, it's not my main thing or anything by any stretch.
I mean, I feel like
it's more because I'm a big Final Fantasy fan.
See, I never really got into like Final Fantasy and stuff. I mean, for context, the first game we bought for our Xbox was actually the original MechAssault, so
there you go.
Played a lot of those kinds of games growing up, shooters and such, which I wasn't never really that great at, but I do love Half-Life.
Okay, so what Kirilvanov. Sorry, I'm making sure I'm getting this right because my eyes are shit.
Yeah.
Intonation is which syllable of a word you put emphasis in, i.e., syllable or syllable. So.
I see.
Okay, so now we're on to a fourth definition altogether. Enlighten us. Wherefore does this information dwell?
Consult the oracle.
The oracle's words stand as a warning. Oxlandia will fall. And the only salvation is strong wooden ships.
Oxlandia will fall.
And a tidal wave of artist's blood. No.
Oh my god.
No.
I was gonna make the joke that it's like Taco Tuesday went horribly wrong, but
No. I was quoting 300 Rise of a Nation. Or Rise of an Empire, where she says
300 Birth of a Nation sounds like a really not good movie.
That's not what I meant. No, I was
the Rise of an Empire or whatever, the sequel
Rise
that it was like, oh, they did that? Okay.
Okay, no, the second movie, and she says, and a tidal wave of heroes' blood. But since it's Oxlandia, it's like...
Yeah, no, it's fair. It fits.
Okay, so let's see. Hello, my name is Kirill Ivanov. Apostrophe. Oh, okay, they were helping me correct the intonation of their name. Got it. Okay.
My name is Jeff.
Also, that many I's and L's next to each other terrifies me. Idea. Mecha cheeseburger mech. Breakdown, you must be hungry. Go eat.
Cheeseburger mech does sound really fun. I might do that next after doing this for a bit. I don't know if I'm going to finish this one. I'm just doing doodles.
Yeah. There was a joke. There was a moment I was reading the lore video I'm doing for my setting that I read it for my friend, and he was like, so you said that there are even theater companies that buy mechs, and I'm like, look, after seeing Steiner Scout Squad do Shakespeare in the Park, that's canon in my setting.
Yes. That's great.
There's no reason you can't use a battle mech for...
Why not? That just makes theater more dramatic, which is what the people want.
Yes.
If you're going to pay for a show, there might as well be a chance of collateral damage. I'm also just imagining WrestleMania with giant robots, which...
Oh, I mean, there's straight up gladiation mechs in setting.
I should put in Megas XLR somewhere. Since it is that sort of... Not just as like a fun Easter egg, because I love that show. I'm so
Megas
sad
XLR is a great show.
It is, yeah.
And everyone who says otherwise is a big dumb butt.
Yeah, they don't know what fun is. I think there's a couple episodes they actually got Peter Cullen to do voices for, which, if people don't know, that's the voice of Optimus Prime.
Yeah. Okay, so this Kirill fellow, or feller, I'm not sure which, is a claymation artist who found us because we have the art category on our Twitch stream.
Oh, awesome!
So yeah,
Claymation's awesome, man.
yeah. Like I said, we are normally a Let's Play channel. We're part of a kind of a fan club called the Aux. We are not official representatives of the Aux. But we decided to do kind of our own silly channel where we usually blow stuff up on screen, and then we decided to do some art for a change of pace.
Yeah,
There's about 30 of us on here.
I don't know how good I am at games, but I can definitely draw, so it's like, why not just do that? It's something different.
Yes.
Plus me, depending on the game we're playing, it's going to be a lot of me swearing at things. I was getting very angry at my RimWorld colonists, just like, for the love of God, there's something on fire outside, go put it out, stop sleeping.
Yep. But no, one thing I've been enjoying about this stream is, like I had always said, with the advent of graduating college and hitting the desk job market, drawing kind of fell by the wayside as a secondary skill, especially with my hand injury. So actually, even if it's going slow, having this consistent, even just once a week, is like. Really getting back into it is like.
It's just about being consistent, really, and it doesn't have to mean like you have to spend hours a day. Just like, I mean, just a little bit every day helps,
Oh, yeah. Well, you do, but that's because you do this semi-professionally, so.
Yeah. I wouldn't consider myself an expert by any means, but I do like to create things.
Well, if you're good at anything, it's good to make money off of it.
Oh yeah. Well, I wish I could do it for a living. It's not exactly something that's in the cards at the moment, but I'm at least glad I'm getting commission work and doing some stuff there, so.
Oh, Breakdown was writing out the lyrics in chat of, we dig giant robots, you dig giant robots, dig
nice.
Giant robots, drums. Nice. I like how he described out drums.
I don't think it would be us to use the soundtrack, but I would love to play some of their music, because that show actually has some really banging music if you're into punk. And like,
yep. Oh yeah, it was. I mean, the show was kind of written for kids, obviously, but like for the parents in the audience, it was definitely written for gearheads to some degree.
Oh yeah, and also like all the pop culture references. Like I think Bruce Campbell's a voice of the Elvis MODOK thing that's in there.
Oh gosh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell's a treasure.
Yes.
I want more Ash vs. Evil Dead.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good, actually. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out, but I'm liking where this is going.
Oh shit, that was fast. Granted, you're still in like the line art phase, but like.
Oh, I'm not going like super crazy with this. I'm just kind of doing like a rough sketch, just because knowing myself, I'm already seeing things that I want to update for the final of whatever this is going to be. Still don't have a name for this, but it's basically a drone.
I do not know how. Sadly, we don't allow image links in our chat.
Yeah. Damn shame.
Let me see. I think there's a way for me to permit it.
I mean, if it's something that's like for creative purposes, that should be okay. Although I don't know.
Yeah, I just have to figure out. I know there's a hash command for bypassing the block. Like I can permit somebody to bypass the block for 60 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come to me, command codes. Come to me, dashboard. Leave me be, advertisement.
Piss off, YouTube. I need to download an ad blocker. I'm so sick of getting ads.
Here.
Hmm. It's not a bad sketch, I think. But I'm gonna rework it later. I think I'm gonna draw that cheeseburger mech now because Breakdown's got me thinking about it.
Okay, so Kirill, feel free to hit us with some of this art of yours.
Yes, I'm always up for promoting other artists. Feel free to share your work, especially if it's claymation. I love that stuff. I will say that I've tried stop motion. It wasn't with clay; it was with Bionicles, and it was difficult. You gotta take a lot of pictures with that.
Yeah. Well, now that I know that command, I can actually permit people to do that more often, because I honestly don't mind people putting links in. The problem is the fucking bots that swarm this. Like, first week, we had, like, about 10 bots per day that we were killing.
Ugh. Yeah, bots suck, man. There was another Discord I'm in. Someone's account got hacked, and they literally spammed about 7 or 8 times in the chat links to like not safe for work stuff. It's just like, all right, just like piss off. Don't need you.
I failed apparently. Come on, obey me, you stupid piece of hardware. Did I accidentally introduce a space that shouldn't have been introduced?
That may happen.
I see. I kept the statement confinements within the thing. There we go. Gotta love code.
Oh, my favorite. I love coding so much.
I've been learning way too much of it recently. It's actually a good skill to have, obviously, but it's like when it's not your thing, it's just like.
I had to learn a bit of it in school, but more of what I learned when it came to web stuff was on the design end than the coding, and
yeah.
It sucks because Adobe used to have a really good program called Dreamweaver, where it was a lot of like plug and play stuff, and you could build a website without having to do coding. But then they discontinued it.
Well, Dreamweaver actually still exists, but it's now its own company.
Oh.
So, because we've been using Dreamweaver to build our website over the past 2 or 3 weeks.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I have a personal website I need to update.
Let's go to this page. Ooh. Oh, I see. It's sending us specific JPEGs. Do you have, like, a website you could link us to? I'm gonna have Tiger sit down. Oh my god, you're already working on the burger mech.
Yes, I am.
I am terrified. Rich,
trying to think about.
Just give it the legally distinct, not the Hamburglar head.
The Hamburglar. See, I was gonna go with an olive, but I could do the Hamburglar.
I kind of like the olive.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out like. Okay, I know the one weapon I'm giving him, but I'm trying to think.
Okay, that's weird.
You see, this actually works because I had McDonald's for lunch today, so it's all relative.
Says, pretty sure this is an existing bootleg Transformer.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I know what I can give him for a weapon now. All right, here we go.
The ketchup packet of death.
How'd you know?
Oh, I was just guessing.
I'm doing like a ketchup squirt gun, because why the hell not? Man, now I have the idea to make like a food mech game for some reason. I don't know what you'd call it, like Mobile Suit Burger or some shit.
Burger Tech.
There we go!
Or
Burger
Robotech Burger Cry.
Whopper. I want a Whopper.
Oh yeah, I want my Sunday. Where's my Sunday?
Oh man.
Those aren't sesame seeds. They're ERA.
I will say I did love that Robotech game. I'd love to play it again. It was a lot of fun.
Ah, that freaked me out. You and I both zoomed into our pictures at the same time, and so I'm like, what?
What's happening?
My brain! My mind!
My mind!
Yep, I see you two are a fan of, Dr. Weird.
Oh, of course. That's my kind of... Aqua Teen Hunger Force is like my kind of shit. Like...
Yeah.
It says to do it, Steve, and I wrote it, so it must be right. Gentlemen, I have made love to this machine. And in the end...
retrospect, I ask myself why. You did that for science? It was free and she was drunk!
She didn't know what she was doing! My metal voice!
Like, it'd be horrible if he wasn't pointing at a lawnmower.
Honestly, the consent part would be the least of my questions. If it's a lawnmower, I'd be asking a lot more health and safety questions. It's just like, oh. I've used enough lawnmowers to know that they are sharp. I actually did remember a story. I forget who it was, or maybe it's just something my mom told me because she worked at the hospital. Somebody that was mowing the lawn in their flip-flops, and they ended up backing the mower up over their toes.
Of course.
They ended the day with less toes than they started it.
Well, yeah. That would be an ideal.
Why are you going into Palpatine?
Yes, my young apprentice.
Actually, this reminds me. I think I was telling the story last night in chat, but it was of an episode of Cops I watched recently, where they were pulling up to this house because this woman that was harassing the people there for whatever reason, and
yeah, the one who
like
had lived there previously.
Yeah, and she turns out was a trailer goblin, and she literally sounded like Cartman. I'm not even exaggerating. It was just literally like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Just, God. I need to find that episode and post it later, but it's so fun. It was so funny.
Yes. Mr. Kirill lurks in Discord, Newgrounds, and DeviantArt.
Ooh. I do actually have a DeviantArt page, but I mostly post on my Instagram. Although I can...
Yeah. I have a DeviantArt page, but I think I've put like one picture up, and it's... every time I see it, I'm like, that is not my best work.
Yeah, I've got a few things up here. I've been adding more and more to it, so I should probably put more on there. But that's for later. Anyway, I will be right back.
While he's gone, chat, I think I'll tell you all about something. Oh, Instagram is banned in your country. Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, Poland? I'm guessing with a name like Kirill Vanov. Ah, gotcha. Interesting. So is Facebook also banned there? Raise the fries.
I have returned.
Yeah.
Alright.
I've learned that apparently Instagram is banned in Russia. This
Instagram?
No. Yeah.
Shocking. I wonder why that would be.
Yep. But yeah, Kiri is from the land of white snow and lots more white snow.
Are you saying he comes from the land of the ice and snow?
From the midnight sun where hot springs glow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
That's the funny thing. It's like every Hollywood movie you see about Russia, it's just like it's a cold, frozen hellscape, and then you see actual pictures of it. It's like, oh, it's just trees. Like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, no, I think everyone experiences that if they don't live in a major
Yeah.
part of
It's like whenever we show the Midwest here or like out like Great Plains area, it's always like desert and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and for me it's weird because if they showed Colorado as a desert, that would be more accurate. Not completely accurate, but more accurate.
I always thought it was more like a tundra.
No, it's more arid. That's the thing. Colorado doesn't have enough moisture to have that much snow. It's cold.
Well,
but
granted, most of my authority on what the Colorado is like is Wasteland 3. So.
Well, yeah, that might be different.
Yeah, I don't think it's a perpetual winter there like in the game. I also don't think there's killer clowns roaming around.
Yeah, that is definitely only something that happens during certain parts of the year. Look, college is a hell of a drug. No.
College is a hell of a drug, I can confirm. I went to college once.
And many have learned to regret it since.
I went to college once and now I have back pain.
I went to college and is not afraid of anything.
I will say psychology was probably one of the most boring classes I had there. Which is a shame. I actually did take a course on comics there for an elective the one time. It was a really fun class.
I just had a horrifying realization of oh yeah, I took psychology. It was pretty as interesting as I find the subject. The teacher I had was pretty boring. I'm not going to say his name though because it just occurred to me that he might be my coworker soon.
Oh shit!
That face when.
Oops! Just doing the poggers face, just like oh.
Poggers. That means play of the game, right?
I think, yeah, it's like PogChamp or something like that. I don't know what these damn kids and their poggers.
Yeah, it seemed like one of those
You kids and your PogChamps.
The people who are natively inclined to use that phrase are probably already using it ironically, so it makes it an extra layer of how do I even approach this?
Yeah, probably right. I just say stuff when it comes to me. I don't know. I've started saying simple as more often.
Yeah, well, that's kind of... If you're part of the Aux, that's going to be
yeah.
staple of our language.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
One of my... I'll admit, and I get why people use it, but, when there's a phrase and people use it to death, and not only do you hate it for that, but you kind of hate it because it's being a little bit edgy or but it's part of language, so you really shouldn't be about it.
Yeah.
Since I've joined the Aux, I have come to fear, learn to love, and then learn through exposure to again hate the phrase "fuck around and find out."
I do love that phrase, though. It's so good. Confucius say, "He who fucks around will find out."
Mm-hmm. I see the value of the phrase. It's just it gets used.
Oh,
a
it's
lot.
yeah. Oh no, it does get used a lot. I get why you'd be annoyed by it.
Probably doesn't help that it's like one of the favorite phrases of the people I actually hang out with on the aux.
Yeah.
So it's like, you will never be more annoyed than by your own friends.
Oh, that I can speak from experience. My own
And
friends
you-
certainly got on my nerves the most growing up.
Yep. You would think that as a sound engineer, I have the ability to take repetitive sound, and I do, but
See, I'm autistic, so I know how my tolerance of sound is. Which is really fun with all the a-holes around here that like to make their cars as loud as possible, and not in a good way, like soup up the engine. No, it's more of like, let's get the insulation out of this muffler so we can sound loud and obnoxious.
I don't even see the point.
There is none. There's no logic. They saw Fast and the Furious, and they're like, I have an idea.
Yes. You gotta love that sort, though.
Oh yeah, they're a lot of fun. Do I want to... I guess I'll give him 3 fingers. Make my life easier. These aren't my best hands, but at the same time, meh.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. There's reasons I draw in a more cartoony style. There we go.
Huh.
Oh.
Witness my shitbox of fury. Rage Toaster, I have no idea what you just said, but
I don't know.
the round disc of cardboard from the 90s. Oh yeah, Pogs. I do miss the old ways. I collected Pogs a lot as a kid.
I must have been. I must have never. I never knew Pogs were a thing, honestly. And I was born in '92, so maybe I was just too young for it.
Yeah, whereas I was born in '86, so that 6-year difference maybe.
Yeah. I guess I kind of consider myself a '90s kid because I remember some stuff, but at the same time, I definitely grew up more in the early 2000s. So.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like how I would only come later to appreciate being born in the '80s.
Yeah.
Because of how much my favorite music is all like from the '80s, but
yeah. I've discovered a lot of older music that I'm into from that around that time, like 70s, 80s. Like a lot of old punk, you know.
yeah.
Oh, damn it. So one thing, the eyedropper tool in this can really mess me up sometimes because I'll be working on something and I'll like tap a button. Next thing you know, it's a completely different color.
Yep.
To be fair, when it comes to clips data, I don't have too many gripes about stuff. Works pretty well.
definitely a lot better than trying to draw in Photoshop, I can tell you that much. So quiet.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I've come to talk with you. Fuck. Messing up my lines.
Yo's, not the lines.
There we go. I honestly get way too anal about my line work sometimes.
At the same time, I completely understand that because being obsessive compulsive, like,
Oh yeah.
it will bother the shit out of me. And I mean obsessive compulsive in the literal sense, like
Yeah.
I have the disorder.
Well, it's not even just necessarily about like a neatness thing. Well, I mean that's definitely part of it, but it's like trying to get my lines to sort of look like professional, quote unquote. Well, like more well-known artists, I want to say, rather than let's go with that rather than professional. But yeah, it's something that can definitely bother me sometimes.
Yep. Oh, god damn it. You know when you get a song stuck in your head, but it's like one that you don't actually like, and it's not appropriate for anything?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Well, I'm having it right now.
That's why I try to avoid a lot of popular music.
I would say that I'm glad this isn't popular music, but given that we hang out with trolls...
Yeah. Well, it's like I try to avoid shit like... I don't even know. Name any pop artist from the past 20 years.
Taylor Swift.
God, yes.
You're not a Swiftie.
Cardi B.
Not... Oh, God, like...
She's terrible.
I was lucky enough to not know any of her music until memes started being made about it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, clearly this probably isn't good. And then I looked it up just to know and was like, why?
Why did I do this?
You could have been blissfully unaware of this Storm song. Why did you do this?
Yeah, I try to just stick to my own music that I enjoy rather than go looking for stuff on the radio. Well, I don't even really listen to the radio anymore. Radio's kind of dead.
Mm-hmm. Like, I have the distinct problem of when I was younger, there was music I would listen to because my sister was driving us to school or whatever, and I didn't like it, but she had control of the radio. And then I would come to appreciate that as actually being good pop music later on. Because, dear God, what passes for pop now just kind of isn't. Like, and even then I would have said the same thing, but it's like, I don't know. Britney Spears kind of looking a bit, you know, like she aged well compared.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like the stuff I hear. Going back to what I was saying earlier about loud cars, the stuff I hear people blaring out of it, it's never good music. Well, the one time it was salsa, I was like, okay, this isn't as bad.
Yeah.
But it's just the most obnoxious shit most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Old men yell about music for 2 hours, the stream.
Yeah, that might not be incorrect. I remember when you actually had to have talent.
I remember what it was like before auto-tune.
There's a part of me that's like, wait a minute. No, you don't. None of us do. Autotune's been going on since the late 70s.
Really?
Oh yeah, just not as bad as it is. It gets worse
Yeah.
with every successive generation because the technology becomes more refined.
Oh, good.
But more and more, it's actually showing up as one of the upshots of, like, the way music evolves naturally is the overproduction of pop tends not to last
Yeah.
in terms of, like, popularity. And so we're kind of entering a phase of, like, people being okay with less than perfect, like, production quality.
Yeah.
Which means we're seeing a lot more of kind of a movement called bedroom pop, and, like, it's, kind of the garage band response to current pop music.
Yeah.
And it's starting to actually, like, take off quite a bit.
As long as it sounds better than what most stuff is.
And Breakdown announces very loudly, boy bands!
Oh, God.
And I redeemed a Yeet Thyself because I want this mech to fly.
You just delete us.
You don't actually have to honor that. It just struck me as funny that during a what do you call it? During a stream that isn't about a, platformer game, to redeem one of the things that really only works for platformer games.
I mean, it's gonna fly. I'm putting jets on it. It's just...
Ah, then you have been a good stream host.
Mm-hmm. Just gotta figure out the French fry launcher. Man, I will say this much about McDonald's. It sure got expensive.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything has. The only things that haven't increased in price are, strangely enough, the restaurants I used to view as kind of the slightly higher priced ones.
Yeah.
Like, McDonald's and Wendy's have gone up in price, but then, like, Sonic and Carl's Jr. are basically the same.
Yeah, I wonder how Five Guys is. I haven't been there in a while. We have one here.
Last time I went to Five Guys was about 2 years ago, and it was about a $20 meal.
Yeah.
So it's, like, not really on the table for me right now. Like, I try to eat at home as much as possible, but inevitably,
me too.
if you're out to work and so forth.
Yeah. Well, it was like today, I think, was the first time I got McDonald's in I don't even know how long.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Breakdown suggests that you use the superior engine power of mustard packets for the jetpack.
Mustard power. Muster factor 5.
My God.
There we go.
Yeah, like Rage said, if I'm gonna spend $10, I'd rather have Panda or Chipotle.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, though. Our local Chipotle has gone to shit.
Okay, that's
Like
fair.
it-
Like, in Colorado,
yeah.
the Chipotles are still, very much, like...
Yeah. No, ours, it was like COVID, they really just stopped giving a fuck, it felt like. Because we would go there, and they, like... You would have to order outside the store. You couldn't, like, go inside and order. And then there was times where there wouldn't be people in there working.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, but COVID did a lot to people.
Yeah. Honestly, the best place in town that I prefer way over Chipotle is a local place that's just run by one guy. And he does awesome, like, more authentic, like, Mexican cuisine when it comes to, like, burritos and stuff. Like, you get a burrito and it's like on a plate,
9 times out of 10, always choose the hole in the wall.
Absolutely. No, it's a great place. I love going there.
Now I missed that one. We
Yeah.
used to go to Baltimore for BronyCon every year, and BronyCon doesn't
Ah.
happen anymore. And
Oh, I didn't know
so, like,
that.
I have no reason to go to Baltimore at the moment. And
And
there's
to be
this
fair,
there's this Thai restaurant, and it's like I
mm,
miss the Thai restaurant. I'd almost visit there just
oh,
for
I do
that.
love some
But
good Thai food.
yeah, and he recognized us every year because we came in the same cosplays, and uh,
Yeah.
we would just add to them, and he would always be like, "Oh yes, it is you, gentlemen." And like
Hello.
he had a really good grasp of English, but he was clearly from, I think, Thailand.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Oh, looks like I have a message from the breakdown.
Breakdown.
Oh, right. We've been experiencing this weird thing where the stream sometimes restarts.
Oh, did that just
So,
happen for him?
he was saying that the stream went down. Let me check something.
Oh, you're fine. I'm just.
Nope. Same stream's still going, so you're still mid-broadcast. Okay, yeah. Sometimes it splits the video in half when it does that, but then otherwise it's fine.
Gotcha.
Back to channel. Aniri777 says hi.
Oh, hey, Annie. How you doing? She's one of my friends from the art Discord I'm in.
Yay!
I'm drawing Burger Tech.
Yes. And
Burger King foot lettuce.
Mr. H Toaster says, put a ring on that finger, make an honest mech out of him.
Listen, I heard of a fiance who's jealous of my love for the coffee maker we got this week. I don't need that on top of it. My coffee maker died this week, right? It was like a little kid cup maker. It wasn't anything special. And I was like, well, I guess I'll have to get a new one. My fiance was like, I'll stop by the store and I'll get one because she had time at work. I was like, oh, okay. And then she sends me a picture of like this really fancy like Ninja brand coffee maker, and she's like, I'm getting this. I'm like, oh my god. And she said like, I look the happiest I've ever been taking it out of the box and setting it up. So now she jokes it's like my girlfriend is like, god damn it. You're such a tease. I'm always like, the Benny Gesserit witch must leave. Yes, he's looking very burger-like now.
Ooh. Sorry.
That one really got you, huh?
Dune is one of my favorite series, so like any jokes that reference it just make me a happy boy.
Oh yeah, Dune's pretty great. I'm looking forward to part 2 when that comes out.
You heard about who's playing Emperor Shaddam the Fourth?
I know, and I want to know what that's going to be like. It's fucking Christopher Walken. He's like, this signet ring, I wore up my ass for 3 years.
Well, like I've seen him play, serious roles. So like,
I'm sure he'll do. I'm sure he'll do a good job with it. I mean, I'm not.
But yeah, but
every time I think of Chris, it's just meme material.
Yeah, either way though, it's just like this could be very good, or it could be very good.
I feel like it's going to be memorable, no matter how you slice it.
Yep. Because like watching him as Cato the Younger in the BBC production of Julius Caesar. He's like very much still exactly, who he's prone to be. And so hearing him like, we must make sure not to let this thing get out of control. We need to suppress it before it's too late. And like he's very much acting the character, but he still has that weird pausing thing he does.
Yeah. I think that has something to do with the way his mother talked or something, if I remember hearing it correctly. But
yeah, very decided or what's the word? Controlled way of speaking.
Something like that, sure. I'm not an English major. That's my sister's department. Side note: don't do English as a major.
That's fair. I almost did it, and then I switched out for music.
I mean, I can't really talk shit because I went to school for graphic design, and I'm not working in that field. Although, to be fair, I think I would hate it because I really hate corporations and advertising.
That is fair.
That's why I tend to use most of my learned skills for shit posting.
Yes.
As God intended. I think, therefore, I shit post. I believe that's a famous philosopher.
I feel like that's something Colberto would say.
Probably. Or Diogenes. Diogenes was a shit poster, I swear.
Behold a man.
Everything I've heard about him is just like, yeah, he'd fit in on this server.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it, Diogenes, stop posting pictures of chickens, we know.
Oh gosh, you know what? We have a new duty. We need to start chicken posting on the aux.
Yes. I already, yes, I'm not even gonna argue that. Like, that needs to happen.
I do like that one picture. It's like a featherless biped, and it shows an HMG on a bipod mount. Behold a man. The lesser-known follow-up to that was when asked how to define a woman. He jokingly said, "Well, a man that does not stop talking." And so then Diogenes grabbed him and said, "Behold a woman."
I forget. I didn't know about that part. That's pretty great.
No, that's an add-on people made later as a joke.
Oh, that's awesome. Either way. Let's see.
The shitposts will continue until morale fails.
The shitposts will continue until things get weird, then they'll go even further than they should.
At some point, it stops being a shitpost and starts being a fertilizer post.
You best start
New
believing in
culture.
shitposts, you're in one.
New culture will rise. So, did you ever watch the 2000 Sci-Fi Channel Dune?
I never did, no. That... Honestly, a lot of the times I watch sci-fi was like later at night, and most of that's the times where they put on weird shit, like the Tiki Man movie and things.
Oh, yeah. No, like, most of Sci-Fi Channel stuff was bunk, but...
Oh, God, yes.
But between their version of Dune and Farscape were rather amazing. The version of Dune
Farscape I heard of, but I never saw. It was definitely an early, like, 2000s kind of show.
Yeah, kind of contemporary with, like, Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
And Enterprise. The other big thing... My brain is slow.
It happens.
Here we are. The other big thing about the Sci-Fi Channel version is, like... I would say that Villeneuve's new version of Dune is definitely the one that, like, gets the aesthetic down, like, pat.
I say that for the most part, but God, I wish it was more colorful. Because I always picture, like, the house colors to be way more vibrant and, like a lot like medieval,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, the banners should be, like, just out there and loud and proud kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so you might like that aspect, actually, of the Sci-Fi Channel version, is the house colors were more pronounced, though they actually changed it for the Sci-Fi series, but that's kind of okay, because that aside, they actually got, like, the story right. Like, because the new movies, they do a good job. They're faithful in being about what the books were about, but they do skip over a lot of stuff or change things.
That's the problem, and you know that I don't think that's necessarily on the new movies. I think that's just a problem with Dune in general. It's like Dune is something that's so big that it's not. Honestly, Dune needs like a Game of Thrones style miniseries, is what I feel like.
Yeah, well, and that's why the Sci-Fi Channel version, I feel, did a pretty good job in that it was at least a 4.5 hour in 3 chunks movie.
Yeah.
So kind of like the prelude to that style of miniseries. And then when they did Children of Dune, they They did Dune Messiah as the first of the trilogy, and then the other two were Children of Dune.
Yeah.
And that was like where James McAvoy got his start before he became, young
Really?
Xavier. And
That's where McAvoy got his start, was Dune.
Yeah,
series.
so he
that's
played
interesting.
so he plays Leto the Second.
Yeah. I'm familiar with who. I'm familiar with, like, I at least have a vague notion of the show. I never really watched it though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, you have a lot of people get their start there, like Brian Tyler, who does the music for the Avengers movies, or at least for the early ones, and kind of established its sound, got his start there. You also have a lot of more famous actors, like William Hurt, back when he was still doing stuff, isn't it? And Susan Sarandon played Amencia, Irulan's sister during Children of Dune.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And a lot of other such fun people. It's interesting because I actually only know Susan Sarandon from 2 movies, and they're 2 of my favorite movies. I don't know much of the rest of her work outside of that.
Yeah, I just know her name. I'm not really familiar with her work, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing I know her from is as the mom in Speed Racer.
Oh. I didn't know that either.
Not the anime, but the
No, the live action one. I know. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Every time I watch Speed Racer, I turn like 7 again.
I get it. It looks like a fun movie. I never was super into Speed Racer myself, but I remember seeing it on TV, and it was. You could tell how the lip syncing was.
Tim, the nuclear option has entered chat. Storm,
Oh, God,
I'm going
help.
to throw beans at you for not hydrating yourself hard enough. Moisture is non-negotiable.
God help us all.
I might be slurping into the microphone a bit too much. Everyone say hi to Tim. He is the master of Poland.
He's the Pole in charge.
He's the winged hussars who have arrived.
He's quite polarizing. I will say though, I can see why Poland's flex is about the Wing Hussars. Those guys knew how to dress to impress. Like,
Yep.
it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna show up with our blinged out armor. What the fuck you gonna do about it?
We're going to show up in our blinged out armor on top of a mountain that horses are not supposed to go up, and then charge straight down it. Oh, guess what? We also got about half of our cannons up on that mountain. Have fun.
I also had a really cursed idea of a modern Polish Winged Hussar. It's something involving a forklift.
It's too late, Sonic. I'm Winged Hussar certified.
Oh, God. I don't want to think about Sonic. I don't like Sonic.
He says, I am the CEO of Poland and the local pharmacist. The drug
Alright.
and tactical applications as well. Heck.
All right,
Oh, yeah, the Winged Hussars had...
Tim, you need to change your name to CEO of Poland if it's not already. Like, you have to. That's too good.
After Breakdown had performed a drive-by marriage on me and Tim without our consent,
That sounds like a
Tim
breakdown
took
thing to do. Yeah.
Tim took part of Poland, or took all of Poland and part of Colorado in the divorce.
He took Poland in the divorce.
For a while, the Polish-Coloradian Commonwealth was a thing, but it was not meant to last.
Polish history, man. It's some deep lore. When were the Pierogi Wars? That's what I need to know.
When they finally started implementing beans in the pierogi.
That just sounds awful.
Time to up armor a forklift and slap some lances on it.
There we go.
Sold the part of Colorado I got. So it didn't even matter enough for you to keep it.
Local man terrorizes Colorado Springs with a forklift. I can't wait for that headline.
Hussars arrived! I mean, well, we are already the state that is the origin of the Killdozer, so...
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. That happened in Colorado.
Yeah, Marvin Heemeyer.
Have you ever
Brandon,
played
Colorado.
Brigador by chance?
No, I've not.
Because they have the Killdozer as a vehicle in that game. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was weird because I think I was 16 at the time, or maybe 17, and we were on like a wrestling trip, and we were on our way up to a school in the mountains for a tournament. It was like a lot of the smaller schools.
Yeah.
And when we got there, sorry, just saw a dummy. When we got there, we were seeing like all the destruction, and it was only just being reported on the news.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
It
That's
wasn't
like
a tournament. It wasn't a tournament. It was like a, what do you call it? A camp. Like we were.
Yeah.
It was like a wrestling how-tos camp.
Ah, I gotcha.
Thing.
Oh, I remember we went to like Northern California, my brother and I, and a friend of ours, because another friend of ours was living out there at the time. We were going to visit him for like a summer trip, and we actually landed in San Francisco airport, and this was like right after that one plane crash that happened there back in like 2014. Like I think it was pretty famous. It was on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And when you could actually see the burnt out hulk of the plane sitting at the other end of the runway.
Damn.
Like, yeah, as you land, you see it. It's just like, oh, that bodes well.
Yep.
Honestly, that was like the least of our concerns with that trip. That trip turned into such a shit show with just getting there, just because of the airlines. And it wasn't even Delta, believe it or not.
I choose to believe you, but also alter the story in my head for the sake of hating on Delta more.
Oh, that's fine. Delta deserves what they get. I love seeing ads for them because it's usually people just like, you suck.
Yep.
Which they deserve it.
Yes. It was that one time that Tex jumped on the aux to start, hanging out with people, and it was like, oh wow, this is such a rarity, and it turns out he also was like super sick from flying on a Delta airline.
Yeah. They call it Delta because that's where that variant of Corona came from.
Oh god, yes.
It would honestly, planes are like disease incubators, and you can't prove me otherwise.
Yep.
I'm totally uploading this to my DeviantArt later just because it's funny.
Yes.
Ah.
Okay, so Tim tells us a bit of interesting notions. The wings on the hussars were metallic and made a lot of noise. Said noise made horses very upset. Unless they were our horses because they were accustomed to it. So yeah, it had a frightening effect.
Ah, so it's a psychological warfare kind of deal. I respect that.
It's why Greek soldiers had those like tall mohawks on their helmet. It to make them look taller. Make them look taller. There were also stories about hussars stabbing someone midair with a lance after they jumped off a cliff trying to escape them.
Dude, that's metal.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to fuck with them. I'm just gonna say that straight up.
Yes, for even if you try to escape, they will arrive. Coming down that mountainside.
Is this just gonna turn into the Sabaton stream? Because I'm sorry, I'm not really a Sabaton fan.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Suddenly all of Poland is at my door.
Poland and Sweden. The one time they agree on something.
God damn it. Look, my favorite band is Clutch, alright? Like,
Yeah.
That's the kind of music I'm into. Also,
So,
Queens
like,
of the
there's-
Stone Age, but
There's also one of those things of like, if you know your history, there comes a really weird moment where, if it hadn't been for somebody dying at the exact wrong time, Russia, Poland, Sweden, and Denmark might have ended up as one country.
yeah, because of the Mongols, right? Because when Genghis Khan died.
No, actually, this would have been about 400 years later, around the time of the 30 Years' War.
Oh, I did not know that.
Because the House of Vasa, who ruled over Sweden, was an extension of the Polish royal family that had married in. But then, before certain like rules and so forth could be, Tim says your kneecap license has been revoked. Hand him over.
God damn it! This isn't the mafia.
And I need to read up on it because I'm pretty sure I'm telling the story very like crassly here, but
Oh, that's okay.
but basically somebody died who was the exact heir of what was not well established, and suddenly the House of Vasa, from whom we would get the ever so famous Gustavus Adolphus, would take over Sweden. It would stop comporting with Denmark as its.
Is that the guy that is in
lord.
Civilization?
Yeah, well, he's one of. He's famous for basically being the father of modern warfare, implementing ideas like, what do you call it? Like rotating fire and stuff like that.
I see.
Theory of mixed arms and things of that sort. And so, then, the House of Vasa stopped comporting with Denmark, and so that caused a war between Sweden and Denmark. And meanwhile, the portion of the house that ruled Russia decided, like, yeah, we're going to keep ruling Russia, but no, we're not submitting to Poland because Russia is its own nation. And Poland was like, well, fuck. We're going to have to try to make you guys behave. And then suddenly Austro-Hungary is like, hey, dude, Holy Roman Empire's in a civil war. We could use your help. And Poland's like, F!
European history sounds complicated. Surprisingly.
It is.
Well, I will say this burger tech is looking quite splendid.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's kind of funny because there would have been like... It could very well have been the case that Europe could have ended up ruled by 3 families.
That would have been interesting.
Basically, all of the Catholic lands ruled by 1. All of the were constantly covered in snow lands ruled by 1. And then, you know, much like today, England and France being kind of like, fuck all of you, we don't want to join. And instead, France pulled a strange move and sided with the Protestants, even though they were hella Catholic. And this was all in order to screw the Habsburgs out of controlling both Spain and Austria.
I mean, to be fair, they kind of screwed themselves out of a lot of things with the inbreeding, but...
Well, yes, that's true. Though, to be fair, that was not uniquely just them.
Oh, no, they're just the most famous ones because they looked like Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes.
there's Burger Tech.
Yay! Burger Tech Battle Drama.
I'm definitely putting that somewhere later. I love this picture.
It's a happy picture, all full of organs.
Organs, my favorite.
I was just thinking of, God, what was it? Invader Zim. You're a happy little boy, all full of organs.
More organs means more human.
Yep, you knew what I was on about.
Oh, dude, Invader Zim, I remember that shit. It was the weirdest show, but it was fun.
Like, I was in high school, I'm like into high school when that was coming out, which means you were in elementary school, so it was probably weirder for you.
Oh, God, yeah. There was a lot of... Like, I had Courage the Cowardly Dog on. I had that. It was such a weird time for cartoons, and it probably shaped a lot of who I was as a person, so...
Yeah.
I'll return shortly.
Farewell shortly. Post night, a Wenthoth appears. A thunderclap Sasquatch appears. Tim the Grim. Shout out to Prussia for invading Poland for over 100 years because we were not Catholic enough. And then when we got the Pope involved, he told them to knock it off and they converted to... That's right! God, I love Prussia. They're assholes. Have the burger bot fight Chinese takeout bots. Yes.
I've returned.
Yes. You have been. It has been requested that the burger bot should fight Chinese takeout bots.
Oh! I'll have to draw that next. I'm keeping that as its own thing though because I love it.
Yes.
Chinese takeout. Okay, I'm trying to think about how I want to draw that. I have some ideas.
Uh-oh.
Man, if I knew how to code, I would make a robot fighting game involving fast food, because that just sounds like a fun time.
Yep.
But
So
I do not...
I live in the basement of our house, and I can already hear... I would already be able to hear everything normally, and then on top of that being a sound engineer, like, I hear everything in high detail.
Yeah.
And our dog has the zoomies. So it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
hearing like a tiny drum set playing above me.
Yeah, our cat, she's out and about now. She was attacking my fiance this morning while she was getting ready.
One of those cats that has the roam of the neighborhood.
Oh, no, she's just a goblin.
Mm-hmm.
She'll like... She's an indoor cat. Like, we've had her for a few months, actually. She's pretty young kitten, so she's got that kitten energy.
Yes.
But we'll hear her like running around at like middle of the night, and she like chews on stuff. We have a box in our room that she's been chewing on, and she's just taking huge chunks out of it.
Yeah.
The problem about making like a Chinese takeout thing is it's just like it's not the most appealing thing to make it. Like a takeout container is just kind of like bland is all. Like I'm not even talking about like as an object. I'm just talking about like
The container.
well, I mean, I guess like color wise and everything is just like it's kind of simplified, so it's kind of hard to. Although I'm also probably just nitpicking shit because that's me.
Yeah.
Definitely needs a katana, that's for sure.
I'm just remembering now that one SCP where they basically find the Habsburgs.
Oh.
And it's like the family kept inbreeding until they became a whole new species.
That's horrifying.
Well, yeah, it's SCP.
I'm just thinking of like the Shadow over Innsmouth or something.
Oh yeah, and like they're like just horribly depraved and assume that everything is about royal prerogative. Like, and they don't even seem to understand what it means anymore.
Yeah. As you'd expect for something like that.
Liao orange chicken. But that is why they are aliens and foreign. I hate their brood monarchs. SCP. Ah, yes. Wampahoth reminds me that it is SCP-3288. The house.
I never really got into the whole SCP thing.
Yes.
Just because I'm not really like super into like that kind of horror stuff. Although I do love cosmic horror. So
I'm not even that into horror myself, but like it was a big chunk of unaccessed lore, and I was like, yay,
Yeah.
lore. I'm a lore whore.
I can get that.
Like, if you show me somebody world building, I will sit there for hours with popcorn and watch.
Oh, I do love me some world building, yeah.
It's like all the horror genres wearing a trench coat. Yep.
Basically, I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with Wampa that the majority of like the really good SCP stuff is written more like X-Files.
Yeah, or like a Delta Green.
Yeah. Where it's less about the horror and more about the people who face the horror. Like, the horror is
Yeah.
still an important part, but it's secondary.
Yeah, X-Files was a lot of that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how I want to draw things here.
Yeah, like, that is one thing I like about around the later 2000 series. You started seeing a lot more, like, alternative history, fantasy stuff find its way in. Especially with, like, the Cactus verse.
To what, X-Files? Or just in general?
No.
Or SCP?
SCP. So there's an author on there called DJ Cactus, and the stuff he creates is roughly referred to as the Cactus verse. And he's like, look, I never thought I was going to say that a good story, one of the best stories I've ever read, could be summarized as Noah fights Bigfoot, but here we are.
Well, shit.
Noah fights Bigfoot after the Fae have turned Lancelot into a demon. Because, you know...
Well, then, okay.
As Tim puts it, motherfucker rewrote the Bible.
I can see that.
I think my favorite description of it was when SCP Explorer series was reading through some.
Hold on a second, I'm going to be right back.
Okay, yeah. It was like, so far, so Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's scary out there, dude. Don't go outside. God. Don't give her pets. Don't give her pets. Sorry about that. My fiance came home and apparently our cat ran right out the door and then got scared and ran back inside.
Adorable. But yes, understandable.
She is quite the kitten, so.
Yeah. But yeah, the best way I've heard DJ Cactus's work described was so far, so Dark Souls.
Ah, I gotcha.
In that it's like, everything is just this weirdly forgotten and deeply confused lore in which you can start to see emerging patterns, but, well, like much of history, a lot of it depends on who you're asking.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that the archaeological record might try to eat you.
Yeah, that's, makes studying history very difficult.
Yeah. Very antediluvian.
Well, it's not a Chinese takeout robot, but I'm making a giant paper shredder machine thing because
It creates the chicken nuggies.
there we go. I will say that I've used operated around a big industrial sized tree shredder.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's scary.
Yep. that wood chipper doom, as it were.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's funny. I didn't really care about him before, and then I saw the one episode of 1,000 Ways to Die, and I was like, oh, never again do I want to get near one of these things, because it was like a dude going feet first into a wood chipper.
Yep.
God, that's Spike TV. That's a blast from the past, isn't it? I don't know if you remember that or not.
Little bit, yeah. It wasn't like my sack of soup, but it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean though, because like there's a book I have on my shelf and I only open it very cautiously. And the reason why is it's a coroner's handbook.
Ah.
And it's because the story I'm writing is written from the point of view of a doctor for a mercenary company.
Old Sawbones himself.
Yes. And like I'm kind of a fan of writing from the point of view of like if the company has a medical expert or something like that, because they're often the most informed member of the company as far as the goings on of the people within.
Yeah. I get you.
But yeah, so like with, friend gave me that book and I'm like, okay, this is really useful because it's very realistic and oh god, it's very realistic.
Yeah, I've got a book coming in the mail that Hallion got me earlier, because I was talking with somebody about the book called this book named Armor, which is like a sci-fi book, and just like he's just like it'll be by your place by today. I was like, what the fuck? He just went ahead and bought me that book because part of it is it actually is really good reference for something I'm writing, but also it's a good sci-fi book. So.
Mm-hmm. And Wampath brings up, or Wampathoth brings up, like in Star Trek, how Bones was the oldest character. So, like...
Was he? I never realized that. But also, I'm not a Trekkie, so...
Well, except for Spock, but Spock is an alien, and there's some other factors there, but...
He doesn't count.
Yeah, so, with, what's it called? With Bones, though, like... You did learn a lot of about the different crew members because of his interactions with them.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Like the fact that for his birthday he gets Kirk glasses and he knows the exact prescription and such. Implying to us that for the first time that we've ever seen that Kirk actually has some vision problems.
He certainly lacks the foresight to a lot of his plans.
Oh!
I don't know. I'm not like... I know a bit about Star Trek, but I don't know a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, what most people know, unfortunately, is filtered through pop culture, and so, like, for example, if you pay attention in the original series, Spock and McCoy actually sleep with as many green women as Kirk does, as it were.
I can see that.
Kirk is not a particularly horny man, actually. The jokes about that all came largely as a result of, like, there were a few episodes where he was, making it with a space lady, but they were A, no more common than other episodes, and B, Picard actually makes it with as many alien women.
Huh.
But Kirk was always much more the swashbuckler. And so,
I think that's just more of like the way that he presents himself that leaves it open to that. I mean, I've definitely made jokes about Kirk needing to visit Bones a lot because of whatever sorts of STDs he's picked up during the week, but...
Yeah. Yeah, in the original, Spock and Uhura were an item for, like, one episode, and so they extrapolated that in the new series to being, like, a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of what I enjoy about Star Trek is a lot of the ship designs. I've been getting a lot into the Star Trek ships as of late, mostly because it's relating to my setting I'm working on in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
My favorite is actually the Sovereign class ships.
Mm-hmm. So the Enterprise E and onward.
Yeah, Enterprise E. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I was just about to say, like, I like how they've gone in a direction of Star Trek where most of the ships have the more oval sort of saucer section to them. I think that looks a lot better, and it really adds to the overall shape of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's actually an in-lore reason for that beyond the design, though granted, a lot of those in-lore reasons are always written after the fact. But the Sovereign was the first... It had essentially been several decades since the Federation was thinking in terms of having to build ships that were dedicated warships. Most ships were meant for exploration. They just happened to be capable of defense. But the Dominion Wars and the Borg Wars led them to have to actually start up-armoring and up-weaponing these ships.
As they should, because it's... Yeah.
Yeah. And so the Sovereign was built with trying to create, with regards to its size, because it is big, a profile that was harder to hit.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Galaxy before it, which, though, a complete thug in its own right, had a lot of points that you could hit.
Yeah, I do believe the Sovereign was more armed, though, than the Galaxy class was.
Oh, yeah, no, the Sovereign is a straipe battleship.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That's actually its classification.
Yeah, I've chosen the Sovereign for a class of Dreadnought / battleship in my setting for a reason, because of how an absolute unit that is. What was I gonna say? Right. It's like I get why Starfleet wasn't really militarized, but it's like they need to. Like it's a very big, unforgiving universe, as we've seen in Star Trek. Like, you need to have a military presence whether you want to or not. It's just you need to be able to defend yourself. And that's the thing about a lot of sci-fi. It's like any sci-fi where it's like, oh no, we've given up weapons. It's like, yeah, bull fucking shit.
Oh yeah, and that's where, like, as optimistic as people treat Star Trek as, like, it's still pretty realistic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And they talk about, like, Section 31 and
Section 31's great.
Yeah, and then the things like the what do you call it? The reenactment of Starfleet military protocol when they get into, like, the Makos in Enterprise.
Oh yeah.
You see them a little bit in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, they need, like, dedicated, like, Marines or something.
Because Starfleet officers, though trained in survival and combat, are not trained as, like, infantrymen.
It's not dedicated. It's just more of, like, skills. It's not frontline heavy combat related, which is like, for how advanced Starfleet is, they should have, like, something akin to the mobile infantry. Yeah. They should be able to be like, oh, you guys done fucked up, and then that's when the drop pods start coming down.
Tim's playing BattleTech, and he's like, first mission. Was supposed to fight one lance. Said lance has 3 fucking support lances!
Yeah, that sounds like BattleTech, alright. That's why I, whenever I play the Harebrained Schemes BattleTech, I always make a point to make my mechs not only have the most protection they can, but also be able to have jump jets. And I'm talking about my assault mechs. Like, I put jump jets on my king crabs.
Yeah. Yeah,
because you need it. You just need it.
Yeah, the 3 really big I'm trying to find that right chart here.
The big Chungus chart of BattleTech.
Yeah. Too Chungusy. No, the really big like combat ships of the Federation are the Akira class, the Sovereign class,
Yeah,
and
the Odyssey.
the Odyssey and the Defiant.
The Defiant's not that big though. It's a very small ship.
The Defiant is an angry little ship.
It very much is.
You send like 5 Defiants to escort a Sovereign into battle.
It's the Warwick Davis of ships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, oh my god, I watched Leprechaun in Space not too long ago. That movie is... I don't even know what to say.
Yes. There was a great meme online the other day of, it's like, Chief, I have bad news for you. What? Well, the credits are rolling, and your wife's credited in the episode. Probably means it's an O'Brien episode.
Oh, I saw that one.
Shit, that doesn't usually end up well for me. And then it says co-starring so-and-so as Kai Wynn. It doesn't get better, Chief.
I saw that one the other day. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
O'Brien must suffer. He's apparently in an Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode, which is just funny to me.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, part of the joke is, like, in every Star Trek series, there's a sort of everyman character who is going to be the one who gets, like, screwed constantly.
Yeah.
In original series, it wasn't kind of the trope yet, but it's sort of Bones, because he's the, like, damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And just everything goes wrong because, of course, he would have the most to say about it being, you know, not used to being, you know, he's a doctor, not a gunslinger. But
I would like to see that version of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. But then you get to Next Generation, and it's Geordi and Data. Data because he's trying to understand culture, and Geordi because he's a nerd that just doesn't do well with women.
Worf gets a lot of shit too, though. I've seen a lot of compilations of Worf getting owned.
Yeah, well, like, the three of them exist to suffer the strangeness of culture. In Deep Space Nine, it's O'Brien and Bashir.
It has to be the Irish guy getting all the abuse, okay.
Yeah. And then in, you know... in Enterprise, though, it's probably my favorite because it's Trip, the ship's engineer, who's just this kind of, like, down-home country boy mechanic who then, you know, everything happens to Trip.
I guess you could say he goes on a trip.
Yeah. Of course, the whole point with Enterprise was that, like, this is their first real foray out into, you know, deep space.
Yeah. I saw a bit of Enterprise, you know.
Some people weren't big fans of it. I actually really liked it, but I kind of get why. It was a definite change of the normal pace.
Yeah, speaking of big fans, I'm not really huge on how this is turning out, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway.
Yes. Oh,
You're going to say, who's still watching? I haven't really been checking.
Wampahoth and Tim are currently in here right now. I think they're the only ones really watching at the moment.
Yeah.
But we're glad to have them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just more curious as to who's all in here, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, Wampa brings up the Defiant has more firepower per tonnage than...
Yeah, from what I understand, it's like... It sounds like it's a lot like the USS Constitution, like the heavy gun corvette or frigate.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. It's a heavy gun corvette.
Yeah.
It was built initially in response to the Borg threat.
I mean, to be fair, that's good.
But then it was mothballed initially because it was... I can't remember the exact reason, but it had to do with difficulty with using it in other Federation, you know, procedures, because Starfleet was just, at that time, not used to being only for military purposes. They were used to being, you know, for exploratory purposes, and the Defiant didn't have a huge range by itself.
I was going to say, I think there was, like, problems when it came to,
And the engines would tear themselves off if it...
That was the thing, yeah, until O'Brien fixed it.
And then O'Brien fixed it, and...
And then he must suffer.
Yes. O'Brien must suffer. It is the law.
Yeah.
One
Yeah, there's
thing
a
that
lot
was
of. Oh, go ahead.
you first.
I was just gonna say there's a lot of interesting starship designs in Star Trek.
Yeah, yeah. With Deep Space Nine, it's kind of funny because you have O'Brien, who's somebody who just learned how to be an engineer on the battlefield. Like his whole backstory is he was an infantryman in the Cardassian War.
Spy sap in
Um,
my century.
yeah, and then just figured out how to rebuild things and had a knack for it. Um,
Huh.
Meanwhile, Cisco was actually the head of a shipyard before being transferred.
He was at
Um,
Wolf 359, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, oh yeah, no, he was there. That's a big plot point for him. But then
Yeah.
he had spent some years as the commander at what's it called? The Planitia shipyards. And so, unsurprisingly, you get those two together, plus essentially a Bajoran terrorist (parentheses freedom
Ah, yes.
fighter),
Yeah.
and it's like no wonder they figured out how to turn that angry little ship into an angrier little ship.
Yeah.
It's also funny because like if you bar Data from the equation, because Data's a machine and thus like
Yeah.
infinitely more dangerous than almost anyone. Um, Barring Data from the equation, uh, the Deep Space Nine cast is probably pound for pound the most terrifying group of people in Star
Oh,
Trek.
I wouldn't want to fuck with them. They all fought in a war. Like most of them have fought in a war.
Yeah, because it's like you have a terrorist, somebody who's lived 8 lifetimes, one of which was a soldier and one of which was a serial killer. We have
Who was that?
Dax, because
I'm not familiar with him.
Dax is a symbiote. And so while it's currently inside of Jadzia, Jadzia has all of its lifetimes going through her memories at the moment.
I'm not familiar.
If you watch Deep Space Nine, she's the one that has the dots all over the side of her head.
Oh, her.
Yeah, so she has like a 700-year-old slug inside of her,
Metal.
and it basically carries information from one lifetime to the next.
Yeah.
And so it ends up with 3, and by the end of the show 4 lifetimes worth of military experience, as well as diplomacy, science, and
Yeah.
so forth.
I'll admit, most of my Star Trek knowledge comes from Voyager because that's the one I saw the most of.
Yeah.
Which I gotta say, the one thing that I really loved that they came up with was Species 8472.
Oh yes. Yes.
I really like the idea of that.
Voyager is one of those series where like it has a lot of technical problems, but like, and in its time, it was actually kind of ragged on by other Star Trek fans.
Yeah.
It actually kind of aged really well, though.
Yeah. I personally like the series.
Yeah.
Though, yeah, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, no, like I think it's still solidly proper Star Trek.
Yeah, like I remember the one episode that I really liked was this one where they discovered this planet that was basically going through a nuclear winter because they had gotten the technology of antimatter from a probe from Starfleet, and they had basically bombed themselves back into a nuclear winter. And it was basically the Voyager dealing with the consequences of Starfleet's actions. They end up like saving the planet through, I forget the means, but they basically dissipate the antimatter. But it's like stuff like that is really interesting. Or I like the I forget what their name was. The one alien species that was like basically like hunters.
I know here the Hirogen.
That's it. Yeah. Like I thought those guys were really interesting.
Yep. Yeah, no, the Hirogen were a great part of the story.
I remember the one arc where they basically took over the Voyager and made it into a holodeck.
Yeah, because hunting.
Yeah.
Because it was hunting the most dangerous game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Voyager, you get kind of a return to the classic Star Trek like Explorer series.
Yeah.
Which I think is why people had something of a reaction to it initially, because they were so used to the like intense military drama that was Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. I'm sure that definitely played a part of it.
And then of course it was playing it a little safer and was more episodic rather than like long plot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it aged a lot better than I think.
I think it looks really pretty good, you know.
Like Next Generation doesn't really hit its stride until season, like halfway through season 2.
Yeah.
So the first 2 seasons are kind of, honestly, a little bit cringy to watch, but
Yeah.
still, it's solid Star Trek at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine is like one of the few that, only maybe like the first season was kind of rough.
Yeah. Well, I'm done with my shredder robot, I think. I'm honestly running out of steam if you want to call a stream now. It's up to you.
No, that's good. I think I'm
okay.
Good there.
Yeah, I think we've been going for a pretty long time. Well, thank you everyone for stopping in and checking us out. I appreciate the support. Feel free to check in for the other Aux streams, and I'll be back next week as well. So thanks for tuning into the Abs, and we'll see you next time.
Yep,
Take it easy.
See you next time, and also join us in about an hour for Persona 5.
Right on. Bye-bye.